I really want to help you obtain a Pokemon card grail. That is why I am going to give away $1,000 to one lucky subscriber. The only caveat is it has to be spent on Pokemon cards. And if you want to win, here's what you have to do. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel and then leave a like and a comment on this video right up here. Come back on February 23rd, Friday, February 23rd, where we will announce the winner at the beginning of the video. Good luck. I do not have a dorky intro today. I don't have a funny intro today. I'm just me being me. I mean, other than me being myself, which is probably dorky enough the way it is, I'm very tired. I'm exhausted. Yesterday was a very long day. Last night was a very long night. But it's honestly, it's no different than what, all of you go through all the time. Like, there's things that happen in life that you just kind of have to deal with, and especially if you're a parent, like I'm sure many of you are, you can relate extremely well to a young one, a little one getting sick, and it's not a fun feeling. Like, it's terrible because you don't want your child to have any discomfort. But yesterday was just not a good day, and those days happen. As a human being, those are days that you deal with, right? You just move forward, you keep moving forward, you keep going, because that's all you can really do. Everybody goes through stuff all the time, and I just want to keep things completely 100, completely real, completely transparent. I take being a creator, a content creator, and it sounds really dorky because I never thought that would be what I would label myself as. I take it very seriously, and I joke around a lot about how bad I am at this. And honestly, like, I am bad when it comes to editing, when it comes to adding all these fancy graphics and doing these little dances and the entertainment level. I'm not great at it. And honestly, I could probably be better at it, but it doesn't have that interest level for me. It doesn't have that burning desire, that burning passion. I don't want this to ever take away from what I'm trying to accomplish. And at the end of the day, all I'm trying to accomplish is just creating good content that includes good information that you can utilize to make the best decisions when it comes to spending your collection dollars. We talk about spending your collection dollars all the time. Pokemon is fun. This is a fun hobby. It is amazing, an amazing feeling to rip packs and pull that chase cards. It is an amazing feeling to meet like-minded individuals and go to league and hang out with friends and really share in this escape that we have into the Pokemon trading card game. It's a lot of fun. The game is so much fun, collecting cards, the artwork, the stories. It is absolutely incredible. And I love everything about that. And all I want to do, I've been doing it for a long time. I've been collecting cards for a long time. I've been playing the game competitively for a long time. There's areas in this hobby that I am very, very knowledgeable about. There's other areas in this hobby that I'm not knowledgeable about, that I'm not great at. We're going to talk about one today with Pokemon 151, the Japanese set. I don't know a whole lot about Japanese cards. However, I want to make sure that I provide good information that you can utilize, maybe something that you haven't thought about, or maybe something that you really haven't looked into or don't know where to go to find the information, but stuff that I find to be super important. I'm always going to be completely transparent about it. I'm not going to come out here and give you recommendations on what to buy or what to sell and say, buy this right now, because honestly, your money, your decision, like, that is ultimately what it all comes down to. You need to make the best decision when it comes to spending your collection dollars. As somebody who creates content, I want you to stay around in this hobby forever. I always want you to be here because I want you to click on my videos. I want you to shop at my store. I want you to go to events. Like, I want this to be something that we share forever. I don't want you to get bogged down by bad decision making when it comes to spending your collection dollars. I don't want you to go out and spend $1,000 on an Umbreon VMAX alternate art when it comes down to $450 or $500. And I want to make sure that I provide good information. That's what's so important to me. I want to make sure that I provide you with information because this is stuff that I've learned throughout the years. This is stuff that I learned studying the metrics and studying where things go up and down in a very cyclical fashion all over the place and trying to figure out the best time to buy so that way I'm not overspending on a card, because that $20 difference, that $20 of buying an Umbreon VMAX at $470 instead of $490, if you do that enough times, that's a lot of extra money that you can put into your collection budget and help you achieve your collection goals. It's very, very important. I want to make sure that I am able to provide that information. That's what
it all boils down to. And that was a huge rant. So I'm going to stop rambling. Holy buckets, that was a long ramble. I'm going to flip you guys around. All we have here is a basic Excel document where we've got prices laid out for every single ultra rare and above that you can pull out of Pokemon 151. All of this data was compiled using pokedata.io. I'm not sponsored by them at all. I enjoy their website for finding Japanese prices because it takes data directly from eBay sold listings, from eBay buy it now prices and things like that, and compiles it all into one friendly environment where I can pull all the information from. So this is all from pokedata.io. You can check out that website if you want, but it's a good resource to try and get a good barometer of what Japanese singles are selling for, because there's not a whole lot of information out there when it comes to Japanese singles outside of going on eBay. So I've got all the prices laid out here, and then we're going to look at pull rates at the bottom for your typical Japanese booster box, and then we're going to compile the data to determine what the average amount of value that you're going to pull out of your Pokemon 151 booster box is. So that way you know, okay, before I open this Pokemon 151 booster box, how much value am I actually going to get out of it? Does it make more sense to buy singles when it comes to this? So we're not going to spend a ton of time going through individual prices. We'll kind of go through this pretty quick, and there's a lot of information. We're actually going to go backwards here. We're going to go right to left instead of left to right. So we'll focus on the Master Balls at the end here. But here's your regular art EXs right over here. And nothing really out of the ordinary when it comes to your regular art EXs. This is very similar to what you see in the English releases, right? You've got Venusaur EX. That one is selling for $2. The most expensive one is the Charizard EX right here, selling for $4.21. Everything else, basically a bulk EX. You've got Blastoise EX. That's the second most expensive one at $2.44. But everything else selling for under $2, all the way down to this Wigglytuff right here, selling for 84 cents. Now, it is very common for you to pull 4 of these out of your Pokemon 151 booster box. That is typically what you're going to pull. Now, is it possible to pull more than that? Yeah, it probably is. But for the most part, I researched a ton of boxes being opened. I put a lot of time into this to make sure that, hey, on average, it's going to be 4 that you're going to pull out of here. So that's what you're going to pull right there. When it comes to the art rares, very cool looking cards. This is no different than the illustration rares that we have in the Scarlet and Violet 151 equivalent over here. And again, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but fairly cheap and more inexpensive than what we have for some of them in the English release of Scarlet and Violet 151. You look at Bulbasaur at the top; they're only selling for $5.99. That is significantly cheaper than the Bulbasaur from Scarlet and Violet 151 is selling for. The Ivysaur only selling for $3.80. Charmander is at $6.84. Charmeleon is at $5.04. We're going to look at Scarlet and Violet 151 price changes tomorrow in tomorrow's video, but very, very different. A huge difference when it comes to this. Now, pull rates are different, right? Pull rates are going to be different when you're opening up a Japanese booster box compared to we don't even have an English booster box, so the equivalency would be like an ETB or a UPC or something of that nature. And you usually get 3 of these art rares or illustration rares in your Japanese booster box of Pokemon 151. Your most expensive one is that Pikachu right there, selling for $10.60. But you look at the cheaper ones, like $2.42 for that Caterpie. You've got $2.34 for the Ammonite. Those are cheaper. They're cheaper. Cheapest art rares are much cheaper than what we have for our cheapest illustration rares when it comes to Scarlet and Violet 151. So the art rares and illustration rares have a vast difference when it comes to price points. Now you have $2, $3, $4 pretty much all over the place, and the only double-digit one right now as far as value goes is that Pikachu. And I know things change when you grade things, and things change when you talk about PSA 10s and PSA 9s and things like that, but we're only looking at raw data right here. I still believe that the majority of collectors are opening up packs and probably not sending stuff off to PSA right away. Now, they may change their mind over time, but for the most part, a lot of people are probably keeping things raw right from the get-go, and that's why you do have a giant difference when it comes to price points. If we look in the middle column right here, these are all of your secret rares. Now, secret rares are much different in the Japanese equivalency from the US equivalency. Your secret rares, you're basically only going to get 1 secret rare per booster box. Now, it is possible to get 2. You may get more than 2, and if you do get more than 1, that's awesome. But for the most part, the majority of your boxes is only going to have 1. That's a lot different than what it is in the English release, because you could open up an Elite Trainer box of Scarlet and Violet 151, which is only going to to give you 9 booster packs, and it is possible, very possible, that you could pull multiples of these cards because the rarity is just different, right? You don't have everything. You have a secret rares, basically. They're labeled as all that, but a lot of these cards are rarity differences, right? You have your special illustration rares, you have your illustration rares, you have your double rares, you have your ultra rares. The rarities in the English releases are just different than what they are in the Japanese releases. These are all classified in Japan as secret rares, which is a huge difference because if you're only going to pull 1 per booster box, well, how do you know that you're not going to pull this Jinx here for $5.45? That is something that you could pull outside of this Charizard EX that's selling for $114.83. A huge difference. For the most part, these are fairly similar to what we see in the English releases. Some of them a little bit more expensive in Scarlet and Violet 151 than what we have in Japan for Pokemon 151, like this Venusaur EX. This is just the full art variant right here. This is only selling for $7.83 in Japan. In Pokemon 151, it's much more expensive, over double the price in Scarlet and Violet 151. The Charizard EX is currently selling for $21.19. Again, this is the full art version over in Japan. It's selling for like $37 in Scarlet and Violet 151. Blastoise is at $10.08. Arbok EX is at $7.12. These are a little bit closer in value as far as like the Alakazam, the Wigglytuff, the Golem. Those are a little bit closer in value to what we're seeing in Scarlet and Violet 151. The Mew EX over there, this is the full art, $10.73. You get a little bit of a difference when it comes to the full art supporters, like Erica's Invitation right here. This is just the full art version selling for $59.99, so quite a bit more expensive than both Ericas in Scarlet and Violet 151. You have the Giovanni's Charisma for $10.13. Once you get down to these SAR cards over here, the SARs, $44.15 for the Venusaur. The Charizard, very similar to what we see in Scarlet and Violet 151, $114.83. The Blastoise special illustration rares at $42.42. The Alakazam special art rares at $30.81. The Zapdos is at $57.65. Huge difference with the Mew EX. Obviously, this was included in our Scarlet and Violet 151 Ultra Premium Collection. Not the case over there. $123.26. The Erica's Invitation is the most expensive card when it comes to secret rares over in Japan. That's $147.50. Not the most expensive card in the set by any means, but the most expensive out of all of the secret rares. You have the Giovanni's Charisma. A little bit more expensive for the SAR card, $22.91 than the special illustration rare, and the gold Mew EX, much more expensive for this the secret rare in Japan than it is for the Scarlet and Violet 151. This one is selling for $25.37. We're going to go through the Master Balls very, very quickly, and the Master Balls are what really make the difference when it comes to a booster box. If you want to master a true master set when it comes to Pokemon 151, you're going to have to include Master Balls, because a master set basically is saying, hey, every card that is possible to pull out of a booster pack, this binder has it all. It's got the reverse holo, it's got the regular art, and it's got the Master Ball. Unfortunately, you only get 1 Master Ball per booster box when it comes to Pokemon 151. You're not going to get more than 1, so you only get 1. It could be something like this Pikachu right here for $454.67. Outrageously expensive, I know. Or it could be something significantly cheaper, like this Ekans, 1 out of $21. But the reason that this is such a big deal, the reason that these prices are so expensive, is because pull rates for this is ridiculous because of the variants. Every card just about has a Master Ball variant, except for, you know, the Ultra Rares. Every single common, uncommon card is going to have a variant that is going to be a Master Ball version. So every single one is going to have a similar pull rate of like 1 out of, I don't know, 6,000 packs or something ridiculous like that it's going to require in order to pull this Nidorina. It's going to be the same difficulty as this Charmander right here. So every single one is quite a bit more expensive as far as value goes, because the likelihood of pulling them is pretty consistent throughout all of it. It's a supply issue with demand still being there because people want to master the set. People love Pokemon 151, which is understandable. Like I said, we're not going to go through all of these, and I'm going to try and just bounce back and forth between the columns here. So you've got Pikachu there at $454.67. This is supposed to go as far as in value order right here, from most expensive down to cheapest. So the right-hand column is going to be a little bit cheaper than the left-hand column. You've got Erica's Invitation there. That's just a trainer card, a regular trainer card, for $96.04. The Mewtwo is selling for $85.50. The Haunter's at $84.67. The Eevee's at $83.01. And I'm just going to go down. I'm not going to go through every one here. You can pause the video if you want to look at these prices. Even the Bulbasaur selling for $45.50, way more expensive than the Art Rare Bulbasaur, which is only selling for $5.99. You have the Nidorino there at $38. You've got even a basic trainer card over here like Daisy's Care selling for $20.49. cents. The Executors at 20.25. The Persians at 20.16. The Growlithe is at 34.02. There's a couple more expensive ones that Pokedata.io did not have the correct values for that I had to pull off of eBay, like the Gengar, for example, which we'll get to in a second. You've got the Cubone at 26.75. You got Seeking at 24.75. You got Weezing at 13.50. I'm just pulling out random ones right here to kind of go over some of the pricing, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. You've got some single-digit numbers over here, like the Pidgeotto is at $8.50. The Tentacruel's at $7. The cheapest one in the set is the Leftovers over here. That one is selling for $6.50. You've got your Ancient Fossils over here, $11.99 for both of those. The Gengar is the second most expensive one in the set. Those are selling for $250 right now. Even more expensive, obviously, if you have PSA 10 versions of them. They get very, very expensive. Even the Safety Goggles over here is at $12.50. So even the trainer cards are going to have a little bit of value. But the big kicker is that you actually only get one per booster box. So if we break things down by pull rates and take averages of what you should expect when it comes to opening up your booster box of Pokemon 151, here's how things go. Regular Art EXs, you're going to get 4 of those. Art Rares, you're going to get 3 of those. Your Secret Rares, you're going to get 1. And your Master Ball, you're going to get 1. If we break everything down and just take an average based off of pull rates, so an average price point of all of them, so all of your regular arts, remember you have that Charizard selling for $4, but then you have that Wigglytuff only selling for 85 cents. If you break down the average of everything, you average it all together, you're looking at $1.81 on average value for those regular art EXs. That means your booster box, since you're getting 4 of them, is going to have on average $7.24 worth of value when it comes to those regular art EXs. Your art rare is a little bit more expensive, not super expensive. Remember, the most expensive one is that Pikachu at $10, but your average value of those is going to go at $4.58, which is right around the middle, and that makes sense. So $4.58, you get 3 of them. So that means on average, your booster box of Pokemon 151 is going to have $13.74 worth of value. When it comes to your secret rares, and this is the big one right here, because that variance plays a huge factor in the secret rares, right? If you could pull a special illustration rare or a special art rare, you could pull, that Mew EX special illustration rare, but you could also pull that Jinx as your secret rare, that full art Jinx. That means the average is going to drastically come down because your potential is great, but at the same time, it could just be, it could just be a Jinx. It could just be a $6 secret rare, and that's the secret rare that you get in your booster box. And because of that, your secret rare average is $31.39. Now, there's plenty of them above $31.39, but there's also a significant amount below $31.39, and that's why it's your average. So your average value per booster box is only $31.39. Same thing with the Master Ball. You could pull that Pikachu, you could pull that Gengar, but you could also pull Tentacruel, you could pull Leftovers, you could pull Muck, you could pull one of the cheaper ones, and that brings that average value way down. That brings the value of your booster box way down. That's why it's really gambling. It really becomes more like gambling when it comes to opening up some of these more expensive, and that's why we do data like this, because we try and figure out, okay, well, what I like opening packs. Well, what box or what booster pack variant does it make the most sense to open? And right now, with Pokemon 151 booster boxes being so expensive, when your average value for your Master Ball is only $31.85, that means on average your booster box of Pokemon 151 is only going to be $31.85. Now, you could pull really well. Your best box potential, $636.10. That's pretty much the top of the line when it comes to booster boxes. If you're going off of these pull rates right here, your best box potential, including that, let's say you pull that Pikachu, Master Ball, you pull the Erica special art rare, you pull all the top of the line art rares, you pull all the top of the line regular art EXs, you're looking at $636.10. That's where that gambling aspect comes into, because you could spend $200 on a booster box and you could pull $636 worth of value just as raw. That's not even including if you grade those cards. But your worst box potential, look at this one, $24.20. So you could pull that Leftovers, you could pull that Jinx, you could pull the cheapest art rares, you could pull the cheapest EXs, and then your worst box potential comes down. Can you imagine spending $200 on a booster box and only pulling $24.20? Now, you can have a lot of fun, you can appreciate the artwork, and that's great, but when it comes to value potential that you pull, $24.20 is going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, unfortunately. Your average box value, $84.22. So if we base it off of your normal pull rates that you're going to pull out of a Japanese booster box like Pokemon 151, your average value is going to be $84.22. $44.22. Way better than MSRP. MSRP right around $50 if you factor in shipping and things like that. But Pokemon 151 isn't selling for anywhere near MSRP and never has, right? Even right at release, it was already selling for about $100, and even that was expensive. Your average box value only selling, or only the value in there is only $84.22. And right now, it's tough to find booster boxes for even $200 when you're going out on the market looking around. You can look on Sneaker Dunk, you can look on eBay, you can look a lot of different places, and even $200 a booster box right now until a reprint gets announced. $200 very difficult when you're only pulling $84.22. That means on average, every time you open up a Pokemon 151 booster box, you should expect to lose $115.78. So you better have $115.78 worth of fun ready to go opening up that Pokemon 151 booster box, because that on average is what it looks like you are going to lose. So I hope you found this information useful. I spent a lot of time compiling it. I think it's really useful information. You can let me know in the comments if it's not. Like I said, I'm not an expert when it comes to Japanese Pokemon cards. I know a lot more now than I used to, and I know a lot about competitive play. I know a lot about the market when it comes to English cards and things like that. But Japanese, I have not spent a whole lot of my tenure in Pokemon studying the Japanese market. It just has never been something that's really interested me, because I do take my cards and spend a lot of time playing competitively with them. And if I can't read Japanese writing, so I don't know what the attacks are and things like that. So I haven't spent a whole lot of time studying the market, but I am getting better. And I think this is important information, because Pokemon 151 is a very popular set and a very fun set to open. Scarlet and Violet 151 is a very fun set to open, and we're going to talk about that one tomorrow. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me ramble. I really appreciate you. Love you guys. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Until next time, peace.